I'm gonna start off with just some housekeeping stuff. If you have any questions, Casey's gonna be monitoring the chat, and he'll interrupt me when he thinks it's necessary for me to stop and maybe answer some questions. But if you have any kind of questions, just enter those questions in the chat window. Second thing is that we want to talk about is we're having our user conference in Spokane, Washington this year, October 4th and 5th. We're going to be doing it at the conference center, convention center. And I believe Casey, we've set up the registration today, and he's going to be sending out those notifications about signing up for the user conference. So that's out today. He's going to be sending out a link. So today's agenda, let's talk about what we're going to talk about today. First, we're going to talk about why the upgrade. Why are we moving to a new version of PermitTrax? What's the reason behind it? Next thing we're going to talk about is who's getting it. Who's getting it first, second, last, how we're going to be migrating everybody over. I know we talked about it at the user conference, but things have changed and how we're going to approach this. Then things to know. We're going to just talk about some of the things about the new system and what we need to look out for. It's a good place to ask questions. And then after that, we're going to tour version 7. We're going to then move on and actually look at some of the new features, the look and feel, and talk about maybe some of the issues that we might run into as well when using it. Another great place to ask questions. And of course, we talked about this earlier, we're going to be making this recording available to everyone. So let's just jump right in. Why the upgrade? So Microsoft, it's all built with the new technology called Blazor. It's actually very fast. It's been out for about 6 years now. I guess we're 23. I think it came out in about 2015, 2016. So the technology is pretty solid. And I actually love developing it. Just to let you know, I started developing this in around December of 2021. So this is over 1.5 years of rewriting the whole PermitTrax suite. So it was originally written in a language that is no longer improved by Microsoft, which is called ASP.NET. They're still supporting it. It probably has a shelf life for a while, but it's not being improved upon. It's basically saying that's old tech. Blazor is the new tech. And it's kind of, I feel like we need to move forward. And the reason why we're doing this is I want to make sure that PermitTrax doesn't become legacy software with a limited shelf life. And we want to make sure our client investment is secure, that you guys are using software that's not old, antiquated, slow. We're moving forward. Even on new servers, I'm one of those where I will put this out on new technology servers. We're running this new version of PermitTrax on server 2022 with SQL Server 2022. You know, it's the latest technology. Don't want to be stuck back in the ice age. And sometimes in tech that could be 5 years ago. So 20 years ago, I started this company to do things different, and I'm still at it. That's what we do. So let's talk about the migration process. How are we going to be moving everybody over? So the first thing is our hosted clients will be migrated first. I believe we have a meeting this week to sit down with my team to discuss which clients and how we're going to move people over. So we're going to be migrating small groups, and it's going to be based on third-party integrations. So electronic plan review, we currently process credit cards through about 10 different credit card processing gateways, and each client has different implementation and processes. So we find it's going to be better to look at things like somebody that might have electronic plan review integration with ePlansoft. We're going to migrate one of those over and make sure all of that works fine, no problems. Once we know that works, then we can migrate others that have ePlansoft over. And the same thing with credit card processing. We have a few people that use the same credit card processors. Well, once we know we got one that's working and there is no problems, then we can move everybody over. But if we did everybody at once, boy, that would be horrible to have credit card processing go down on 10 different gateways at one time because of an issue. So we kind of want to bring everybody over slowly and kind of based on the integrations and how things are working. So if there is any kind of problem, it's just one simple problem for one client, not a whole bunch of problems for a whole bunch of clients. So then our on-premise clients, we currently have only, I believe, 5 right now. Everybody else has moved to hosted. So we're going to do our on-premise after we do our hosted, because at that point, we've probably worked out all of the kinks of any kind of third-party integrations. But there's going to be more issues with hosted, but we're going to migrate those one at a time. Because there might be some complications with servers and maybe older tech, issues with firewalls and securities. And the other thing that we need to make sure that our on-premise clients know that the new version 7 is not going to support Windows authentication. So that means it's not going to integrate with Active Directory. Every user will have to log in with a username and password like our hosted clients do. A lot of that just has to do with the way Blazor works and the integrations. So on to the next things to be aware of with this new version of PermitTrax. Blazor is a single page environment. Basically, the back button on your browser doesn't always take you back. And I'll show you kind of how that works when we pull up PermitTrax. But when you're in a permit, you'll notice that your URL will never change as you move around in the permit. And that's because the page is not moving from page to page. And that's what it makes Blazor so fast. It's basically changing just very small parts of your HTML page in the web browser without actually pushing everything back to the server and then retrieving everything back to your web browser, and your web browser have to rebuild the whole page. That's what the old technology does. That's why this is so fast. Very small amounts of data is passed back and forth to the server, which makes your browser react really quick. So that's kind of what I was explaining here. It uses a continuous connection from your browser to the server, which it could lose a connection. So that it creates what's called a circuit, which communicates from the browser to the server. So if you let it maybe sit for a long time, the server just will release that connection, and your browser is just going to say, hey, we're no longer connected. But easily you can just refresh the page and it'll recreate that connection. The other thing that's kind of important to be aware of is that not all errors are equal in Blazor. So please be patient on failures. This is why we're having a phased migration. We still have it where when PermitTrax, if there is a crash, it will email that information directly to us at our support, and we can look at those errors and maybe try to figure out what's happening and fix them. But not all errors can be caught the way they were in the old version. So if there's kind of some problems, we might have to do some screen shares to figure out what it is that's different on your system that's making things crash. I don't expect there to be a lot of crashes, but you never know. When it comes to development, somebody could put an apostrophe somewhere and it just crashes because the way that apostrophe affects SQL Server, and we didn't take that into effect during the development process of that apostrophe. So again, some features also may have been missed or not working. So please send in a support request so we can add them in or fix them. I believe I've got everything. It's one of those where I'm developing side by side and looking at the old code, the new code, and making sure that the UI and things were there, buttons are there, and everything is still there. But there's a possibility I missed something that you're used to going, where'd that little, thing go? Maybe I moved it, or something. So just feel free to send in those support requests. Known issues, things that I know right now that aren't working. So currently Dymo labels, for anybody who's using that for printing labels, that's currently not in the system. I will be adding that into the system, but it currently is not there. So probably within the next couple of months or so, I expect to get the Dymo labels in the system. And we also know that there's some of the reports are broken. The reports are through a third-party development control, and it has some issues with the new technology. And so right now, the statistics report, when you go to statistics and click on that report, that's not printing because for some reason the graph on there and the report is crashing. And exporting to Excel, I believe that one was just pointed out to me, and that one's broken as well. So we do have a few issues with the PDF reports are working fine, but the statistics report, because of that chart, and exporting to Excel. So that's what we've got. Do we have any questions at this point? Doesn't look like anything so far. So what we're going to do is we're going to jump in to PermitTrax. So this is our new
Corey, if I could, Lisa Key is raising her hand. I'm going to see if I can unmute her and
sure.
and allow her to jump in. It says allow camera. You know what? It's not letting me unmute you, Lisa. Is it a question you could throw into the chat by any chance?
I got her. Lisa, you can actually unmute yourself and talk.
Yeah, so Corey, I guess here's my question. You're talking about all of these issues that you're still having. I'm presuming that you're not going to roll this out until you've fixed all these issues, correct?
We're actually going to be rolling them out, but as I can fix them, like the reporting has been an issue probably for a year. And I just found in testing the other day that report doesn't work and it's crashing. And then I was trying to put a support ticket in, but the company that develops that software, their server was down, and I still haven't been able to put a support ticket in. They've got some issues with the reporting. And it's right now, it's just those two items that I know of that aren't working, and it's just reports. Everything else is working just fine.
Okay, thank you.
And Corey, along those lines, we have Susan as well. She's just asking maybe about a timeline of when you might expect to have Excel figured out because they do use it frequently.
That one is new, and I have to go look at it, and I haven't had a chance to look at it. So I'm going to be working on that probably within the next few weeks, and hopefully I can get that ironed out before we push it out. So the exporting to Excel is only in reports, not in any of the other parts of PermitTrax. So I don't know if that is a different thing, but it's just the reports right now. And I'm not even positive. I know Jesse sent me that from Latah. Okay. So if we go to reports here, I haven't even checked this out. If I export this report, I'll leave in my icons there. See what that does. And it's going, and it's going. See, I'm trying to break it right here for everybody. I know I'll get a support request here if it does crash. Yeah, it looks like it's got an issue here. So we'll go back to that. So, okay. Again, something I have to look into. You know, I brought the reports over a long time ago and I haven't really gone back into that area. So, again, I was showing, you know, logging out. This is your login screen. Everybody's just going to log in like normal. One thing that you can know is if you're on the new version, you'll see the birds flying across. If you don't see that, it'll be the old version of PermitTrax. So once you log in, everything is kind of basically the same. One of the things you'll notice that a lot of the look and feel is basically the same as PermitTrax. I've added a few new features here and there. Let me pull up my list over here so I can see what I need to talk about. So new icons at the top. But it's basically the same. One thing that we did add over here is projects now. Instead of projects being part of your search, it's now got its own tab. I plan on, so let me go back a little bit. This version of PermitTrax works with the same database and everything with the old version of PermitTrax. The only thing that really changed here is the code and the user interface, but the database is still the same. So once we get everything ported over and everybody on the new version, some of these new things that we've talked about of adding, I want to do more with projects and more things with inspections and stuff like that. Those things are going to require to change the database. And I don't want to change the database on the new version that doesn't match the old version until we get everybody moved over. So, but the idea of projects is now going to be its own tab. I can even export this tab to an Excel spreadsheet. You'll notice we've got new icons, tried to be consistent across the board. So if I'm here on the dashboard, what most everybody is used to, you're still going to see your reviews, your review history. But one of the new things that I've tried to put in here is these little blue eyes that you see. Those are going to be informational. See if I can, 150, 125 is right good. This is going to be like, that's going to be the work description for these permits. You just hover over them and you'll see that work description. So anytime you see the permit and you see that little eye next to it, it's going to be the work description. So the rest of things, I can hover over these, like number of incomplete reviews. There's 7, 3. One thing I don't have on this here is when this gets to a 1, that means there's 1 review left. This little, this number will change to a red 1. So you'll know that you're the only reviewer that still needs to review it. So of course you still got your quick notes. one of the things that I've changed in the quick notes is you've got your note history, but you can view other people's notes as well. So if anybody else has got quick notes on that permit, you're able to see their notes. Everything else is kind of pretty much the same in here. The other thing that I've done is you got this little warning level that comes up here that tells you that there's 10 overdue assigned reviews. If I hover over this 10 up here, it tells me there's a number of, that's the number of overdue reviews for active users. So if you've actually assigned a review to like applicant or some third party, that's actually not a user that can log into PermitTrax. Those are not listed in that list. These are actual reviews that are assigned to people within your jurisdiction that it's overdue. So, to change that number and make that go away, you need to make these not overdue. Push them down on your list, change that review list, the date. I also have the ability right here, I can click on that and I can view that list of all of those overdue reviews. What I did in the system here was in our production environment, I'm looking at the city of Des Moines. They have a lot more overdue reviews than this, but I added Al as a user in here. So I would show up with the users that have overdue reviews. And I can see the due dates here and they're going to be in order. And more information. I can also take this information and just click Excel and it's going to spit that information out into an Excel spreadsheet so I can look at all my overdue reviews and do whatever I want with it. So the same thing up here with inspections is those are the number of previous inspections that were never completed. So if I go to inspections, I actually got the city of Des Moines data from today. They have 339 incomplete inspections prior to today. And I can do the same thing. I can view that list and I can export that to Excel. But you can see if I actually click on date here, this will sort my columns. Any of these with a line under, I can sort. So I can sort by calendars, whatever. But by date, I can sort it. I've got engineering inspections here that were scheduled in 2011, but nobody actually went in and put in any comment or actually did anything on that inspection. So these are inspections that are still scheduled that are not completed and signed off. Basically, these are events. So if I pull up a permit and go to events, here's the event for that scheduled inspection. So if I go to inspections and wait for it, I need to work on that. Oh, I'm in inspections. It went so fast I didn't see it. So here's the scheduled inspection. So you see no comments were done. It was scheduled. I can literally just come in here and cancel the inspection, but now you've got a permit that's canceled, it's been finalized, but nobody ever actually put any comments in. So when I do that, I can refresh, and fix my inspections. But that's just, I'm trying to help people not have data that's just out there that's kind of like bad data. So this other information here, news and info, this is going to tell you that you actually have news that needs to be, we usually made it blank in the old version. Now we're putting this little red bubble. So once I click on it, that should go away. So if I go back to dashboard, hopefully it does, and now it goes away. So need that news and info. That just lets you know we've got a new blog out there. So I already have that's the webinar stuff, and you can click on these and actually view the information. But it's pulling that information from our blog. So Let's see, what else we got? Information icons, dashboard menus, tooltips. Got tooltips everywhere. So any of these little eyes are going to be tooltips. Let's see, sorting. Let's go to search. So one of the things that I added to search is when you're looking for things like applied, I can now choose a custom date range. So if I'm in here, I want to know issued, and I want to do last week, last month, let's do the last week, and then do a search. Here's all of the permits that were issued last week. So one of the things I did as well is because this can scroll, this first column is a sticky column, so I can see that permit that goes along with it as well. There is kind of an issue / not an issue. The search engine will only retrieve 2,000 records. So, you know, some of these systems can have 50, 60, 70,000 permits in the system. We're only retrieving 2,000. So when I'm doing any kind of sorting, I'm only sorting on the first 2,000. But at the same time, if one of the new features in the new version of PermitTrax is I can click on the export to Excel, and that's going to export all of the records, not just the ones on the first screen. So if I clear this out, and now I've got 2,000 records here, and if I scroll down, see I got all my pages here, I hit Excel, and I'm going to get all 2,000 of those records in that grid. So instead of doing page by 100 at a time, I'm now doing whatever the results are for that search. So you can see I got 2001, and I know there's only 2,000. So the first column is going to be your the headers. Again, I can search by any of these things. I can sort by clicking any of these. I can still, the search still works exactly the same as before, but I did add this, last week, do a search, and these are all the applied for last week. But I can do issued, expires, whatever. Another thing that you'll see if I pull up a permit here, let's see, this is one that was issued, plumbing permit. We're not using, you'll notice that we're not using the pop-up windows anymore. We're using everything in tabs. So if you wanted this to be kind of like a pop-up window, you still can. I can just drag this and make it its own little window. So that's a feature of the web browser. I can still deal with just this permit in its own window. I don't know if I don't think you can bring it back. Oh, I can bring it right back in. Didn't know I could do that. So you can pull that right out and make it its own window if that's something you still like. But we're using things in just one browser, one tab. I can just deal with PermitTrax, and I can go back and forth. So as I pull up things, if I go pull up this address, I now have the address and I've got the permit. So, and then I can see all the permits on this address, and I can view the parcel, and that's going to pull up my parcel record. So I've got some new icons here. Again, all these little blue will give you more information. Same thing with when I'm scrolling down here, I got my people. If I hover over, I'm going to see all of their contact information. But you'll notice now, if they have an email address, it shows this little icon right here. So if any of these contacts have an email, that one doesn't, I can easily just click on that, and that's going to open up an email directly to start sending an email to that contact. We still need to go through. I'm going to make some changes in a lot of this stuff still. You'll notice, like if I go, you were able to do this in the old version. Don't know if people know that. So I could just go to functions and go to people. But if I want to, I can also just click on people right here, which will take me to my functions. So you'll notice here that like I have this Y for for the primary and it's gray. I need to do that on the summary page as well. So there's a few little things I need to kind of make consistent. I think if I turned off the print will also turn gray, so that contact won't print on any documents. So editing, you'll notice your icons. Everything is pretty much kind of the same as before, but you'll notice that things move much faster. Everything moves around. If I go here to the screen, I can move back and forth from screen to screen pretty quickly. Just click update. So here's where this little wait window, you'll see it every once in a while. Trying to think right now, where's the best place to see you might see something. If I reviews, that's nothing there. My print inspections, we're generating the report. There's times where you'll see that pop up and it'll say, wait, we're looking for spiders. That's basically telling you we're loading. We're doing stuff in the background. We're trying to gather all the information, and the screen is doing stuff. So again, we kind of wanted to show you up here. You see that URL? It's telling me it's on, Permit Main, Des Moines, BLD 2023-0618. As I move around here, that URL does not change. So this is where I was saying this is a single page application. This page does not, I'm only posting back. This information is changing down here. If I go to fees, I'm seeing the fees. If I jump to cashier, that URL does not change. So you can see up here, I don't have a back button. I can't hit back because I actually haven't gone anywhere. I'm still on the same page. So no matter what I'm doing, I can edit, add fees. One of the things that I have in the fees now, these are little things I need to change the general ledger wraps right here, but I can look for building, fee, automation, tax. So I have a little search functionality that's going to make it easier for you to maybe find fees that you're looking for. I think I can even do like this bars number 239100, 239100. So there's all the bars numbers, 105. So you'll notice here it says I'm searching the fee ID, this column, the description, and the account. So if I know what I'm looking for, I can find it easily. I can also still filter by my groups, but this functionality, I can also sort things by the fee ID because I know the fee ID or the description. So this one also, as you're doing things like our quantity, you can see it automatically calculates my totals for me as I'm moving forward, changing that. My reviews. My reviews. That's over here on the dashboard. So over here, we kind of already went through all of this. There'll be for ePlansoft, you'll see the ePlansoft icons. If you make some of these like a high priority, these permits, again, that's just going down to options, changing that to high priority, coming back over here, reloading my dashboard, and that becomes red with an icon that tells you it's in high priority. So these will always move to the top. Another thing that this came from requested by Latah County in Idaho. When you're in inspections, so we already know that this little eye here is going to tell me the information about the primary contact, the inspection contact, and any comments. So I like this one here. This is somebody put a huge comment that probably scheduled online. But most of you know you can just click on this little calendar and reschedule. But there's now a new little tab here that I can click on for upcoming inspections. So I can actually view what's happening for tomorrow and Friday and Monday. So for Latah, they do inspections and they go all over the county to different places. So they needed to be able to see where their inspector was heading. So, you know, if they're going north, I'm not going to schedule an inspection in the south. We might do the south the day after. So you can actually now see those future inspections when you're scheduling. So you can either do that here or within the permit. Doesn't matter where you're scheduling an inspection, that will always be there. So of course we talked about projects. If I pull up, I'm going to pull up this Artemis Hotel. It's one that I always seem to mess with. So there's not much here other than you've got your summary, which is going to show you all your permits in the project. I can go into like inspections, and this is going to list every single permit and all of the inspections. So here's another permit and the inspections. Here's another permit. Because of the way Blazor works, which is kind of cool, I can actually, I'm seeing these inspections, I can deal with these inspections right here. So I can actually rename an inspection. I can go into the comments for that inspection. I can view the comments. I can edit the comments, print it out. You know, whatever I want to do here, I can actually view all of those comments. I can close the comments and I'm back to the list of comments on that one. So you can see here, there's 15 comments here. Click on that. I can see all those comments across the board. So I can deal with the inspections directly within a project, and the same thing with reviews. I can go in and look at the reviews for each project and actually go into comments on those reviews and see the comments. I can do assignments directly in here. So this portion right here is exactly the same code as if I was to go into an actual permit. So if I go to summary, pull up one of these permits, and I go to reviews, I will, well, of course, I picked one that didn't have any reviews. Inspections, I can go in. This part right here is exactly the same you see on the other screen. So it's the same code. Kind of cool. It's one of the things I really love about Blazor. Another thing in projects is this is the Artemis Hotel. In the current version of PermitTrax, you don't have the ability to rename it. Now you've got a little pencil here. I can edit that project name and put 2021 and click update. And now it's the Artemis Hotel 2021. So if I come back over here and do a search, I refresh my search here, it's now Artemis Hotel 2021. So also the other thing is when you're seeing either a permit or I pull up a parcel or I pull up an address, any of these at the top, you'll see this little printer. It used to be down on the action items, used to have the little printer for the user log. That user log is now right here. But instead of it being just on a permit, we also have the user log on a parcel. We have the user log on an address, and we also have a user log on the project. So if I click that user log on the project, it should show, hopefully. It's a big report. I guess it's not a very big report. So I can see who went in and viewed them. One of the things we need to do is I still need to go through and make sure a lot of things that we do, like changing that name, gets logged. So if, projects didn't have a whole lot of logging involved. But it's not, the project is going to be just the log on the project itself, not the individual permits and anything you do on the permits. Those will be within the log here on the building permit. Generate that log there. And you can see everything I've done, everything that's happened from the beginning of time on that permit. So same thing, we can get that information on parcels. If somebody changed something or went in and did something, we'll see that information. We can easily get that log before we actually had to go to reports. So next thing, combined editing and attachments. I don't know what that means. I like that.
Corey,
Something that
while you're kind of, if I have a second to jump in,
Sure.
I just wanted to get just a little clarification. Jesse had a question on the reports and the exporting. It still does export to PDF, correct? There's just something to work out with for exporting to Excel.
Yes. So all
Okay.
of this, if I'm still in this and I'm going into like my cashier reports, daily cash, I don't have any, but tractions to date, it still does that and I can still print. And I can still, if I click on, I changed I got rid of all the icons and I need to put new icons here. So if I click on PDF, it's still going to generate my PDF report. Of course, this one's going to be 100 pages long because I didn't
And while
filter.
that's going, Jesse over at Latah has also just further clarified as well that it still also exports to the CSV just fine, so you can use that to get to Excel if you need to.
Oh,
So
nice.
thank you for
Okay.
that, Jesse. Appreciate the information.
So there it goes. It took a while, but 100 pages. But yeah, it's, it prints everything exactly the same as it did before. I just need to change those icons there. But yeah, the CSV, that's good. That's good to know. I think what it is they've got a new control that doesn't fit with the new Blazor. It's not really Blazor, it's the .NET Core that they've got, and they've got issues on their end, and they keep blaming Microsoft. So I'm working on that. So I know I've got here for combined editing and attach. Oh, I know what that means now. Okay. So if I go over here to attachments, this has changed a little bit. So if I click on add attachment, I can click here or drag and drop files. So I can upload at once 10 individual files, 200 meg. So an easy way of doing this is if I go over here to, I just grab my stuff here, I can just easily grab these two PDFs and just drag and drop. See how it turns green? Just drag. So now, before it might crash if it was over 200 megs, it wouldn't let me do that. But it's telling me I'm uploading these two files, and I can click on upload selected files, and it's now taken those from my computer and uploaded them. You'll notice here a new thing here, 1.4 megs. It tells you the size of those files, and of course what's public or not public. So we made those colored in with different gray to show you that that's not public. So trying to make sure that you can see the difference between what's public and not. Of course, these little hover over these. This is telling me the path to where that file is. Sometimes I need that if I'm trying to figure out where that file is located. But before, if you wanted to change the description or the file name or the date, you clicked on each one of those as a link. Now you just click on the edit button, and I can change any of those directly and click on update. So instead of doing those individually, there's now one button. And of course, I can download the set of plans or delete them. So that's how the new attachments are going to work. Makes it easier. So we did talk about the yes and no's with the different colors, and that's something I still need to go through, especially like in our summary. These yeses and no's, I want to have those, highlighted so you can easily see which ones are turned on and off. Also, another thing too is I don't think it's in the current version of PermitTrax, but you'll notice that in our tables here, as you kind of scroll up, they stick at the top there. So if I'm looking at associated permits, that's sticking up here, so I can still see what's in that column. So if I've got something that's got a lot, like this one here, the action items, it's sticky, so I can still see what those columns are. So the uploads, the dashboard tool numbers, overdue, we already did that. So that's kind of the PermitTrax side of things. There's not a whole lot of other differences here. Everything still it still works the same. I can still do everything exactly as I did before. We've got these the color schemes here to do have some issues with some documents that we might have to fix because of the way the documents get printed. But as we roll these things out, we're going to double check all of those documents before we move you over. We'll move you over and then verify everything in the new system. But the other thing I want to talk about is like my options. So when you're in my options, one of the things that you'll notice is when you search, it doesn't show you the duplicates anymore. It's only going to search your primary contacts. So I'm over here looking at the primary contacts only. So when I'm in my options, I do have the ability down here to say search all related. I'm searching all of them. And actually that should be turned off. So not sure if that's working or not. But here's the advanced search mode. Most of this stuff is still the same. These notifications are all the same. You can still pop out windows if you want. So if I want my reports to be in a pop out window, now when I click on reports, I think I have to refresh everything here. Then reports will pop out in its own window. I still have all my icons. I can still move around and do things within. Did you see my little, we're looking for spiders? That's because it's trying to do stuff. So under my options as well, I'm gonna turn that off. Now I've got save options buttons on each little group, except I'm scroll away the bottom. And here's where I can change my color schemes and my backgrounds. And it does it automatically for me as I go back and forth so I can actually see. Go back to my blue. So then up here at the top, you've got your custom comments, change your passwords, electronic plan review, financial exports, and of course your special scripts. So depending on your security and what you see up here at the top. My notes, nothing really has changed too much here. One thing I did do is under notifications. So when I'm in notifications, you can see I have 2 notifications. These are the same notifications I see down here. So when I archive these, they still are in my notifications, but I can view my archive notifications. New notifications, archived. So I can archive all of them. So this button here will just make them all archived. Now they're archived. But if I go back to my dashboard, they're not here anymore. So again, I can go back and forth and I can unarchive it. And now you can see that the icon changes the color. But I can also look at a date range of notifications. So if I'm sitting there going, oh, I need to find out all my uploads for last week, I can just look at last week's notifications. I can even spit that out to, if I'm in archived here, oh wait, my new ones. I can, spit that out into an Excel spreadsheet of my notifications. But I can also, I can search some date ranges to find my notifications. And of course I can still send messages. So that's pretty much everything within PermitTrax that's really changed. And I mean, really everything is pretty much the same. We've just added a few new features and it's a whole new language. So your saved reports are going to be over here. And of course you got your menu at the top over here. And documentation now is not under news and info. So I can click on documentation. I can click on this to email support. It's going to pull up a support email automatically for you. It's got our phone number here, and we've got this about box that has nothing in it at the moment, but I plan on putting a bunch of information in there. And of course, we got a little summary over here of who's logged in, what's your IP address, what's, what you're connected to, and so forth. Some versions of the database and the application. I can easily switch connection. So if I'm working in live, I can switch connection and move to another connection. But you can notice how fast everything is. It's much faster. There's projects, bam, I'm here, search. Sorry, it's going to start my search automatically for me. And it's going to be based on the applied date in order of that applied date. I've got here one for 21/21. And that's an old permit. So that's really what's going on with PermitTrax. The next thing I kind of want to show you is the Citizens Connect side, because that's something I'm really excited about as well. So if I go into City of Des Moines building, that's the demo one, this one here. So this is City of Des Moines Citizens Connect. You can see that I'm not logged in. So one of the things that you'll notice in here is it has like a little lock on there. So now I'm identifying the fact that if people are wanting to upload, you have to be logged in. So if I click on it, of course, it's going to be you need to sign in. But this lock kind of lets people know what is required to be logged in. Same thing with like this requesting an inspection. I can view scheduled inspections. There's all the scheduled inspections. I can go pull up any of these permits, click on it, and there's the permit. I can see my permits here. It's locked. Upload a file, it's locked. If there was a payment availability, if there was a balance due, and this allowed a payment, it would show the make a payment, but it would be locked. If they're signed in and the payment is available, or if there's a balance due, it might say on there that the payment is locked because it hasn't been authorized or the permit's been finalized or some other reason. So we're trying to give the user, the Citizens Connect user, more information so they're not calling you going, well, where's the pay button? Why is it not there? Well, if they hover over it, it'll tell them. If they click on it, upload a file, it'll tell them, hey, you can't because of. And then they'll probably call you and it says my permit's final, but I can't pay or something like that, or I can't schedule an inspection. So that's going to be down here under inspections. For calendar schedule, you must be signed in. So I can request an inspection from right here. Same thing. It's going to be signed in. If I log in, and remember, sign in. So now I'm signed in. You can see that add to my permits, no longer locked. Upload a file. Only users who are signed up with an email associated with this can upload files. So it's still there. I'm logged in, but now my message has changed. So it's telling me that I'm not associated to this permit, which kind of sucks. But let me go change that. I'm in the wrong spot. Okay, so now go over here and refresh. I go pull up a permit. Let's pull one up here. So you can see I can upload a file now. If I click on upload file, I can actually upload 10 files at once. I think users are going to like this. So remember earlier, I had my set of plans. I can take my set of plans here. I can do multiple. It's telling me I'm going to upload those files. If I try to upload, it's going to tell me I need a description. You know, I can say my plans. And then upload files. So it's now uploading those files just like it does in PermitTrax, tells them they've uploaded their file successfully. And I now should see in my uploads those 2 files. It's actually even went through electronic plan review and passed electronic plan review. So they have that ability now to upload multiple files up to the limit that you've decided that they can upload at one time. So if people are uploading 10 at a time, they can put all 10. But the description that they put is going to be the same for all of their files. So, you know, we've got it in there that hopefully they please enter description about the files you have, choose from the computer, blah, blah, blah. So hopefully that's a good thing. If you guys give me a thumbs up or something on that, let me know if you like that. Because I think the same thing with inspections. If I come down here, you can see there's 3 inspections here. So if they need to request an inspection, it's going to give them a list. If they want to just do one, it's already going to pick that inspection. So I can just do request. I'm going to do my rough drain. I'm going to say Friday, continue, and then schedule. And then I can come back over here, request inspection, do this one, schedule. Pretty quick, pretty simple, trying to make that easier for the users. They can still print the inspection results and see whatever data. Everything is basically the same that we have in PermitTrax, but trying to make things more friendlier for the users. Trying to think of if there's anything else I changed on here. And we did add a site feedback. If they click on that, they can actually give us some information. That gets sent to us to our support email, trying to see if we can capture citizen users that use the system to maybe give us some feedback on things that maybe they would like changed or they don't understand, so we can just get that feedback. So basically that's the new PermitTrax, the new Citizens Connect, and kind of information about how we're going to be rolling this out. We're gonna start slow. A couple people, we've already have some that would like to guinea pig to roll this out. But like I said, I think we've got a meeting this week, at the end of this week, to start deciding which customers and how we're going to roll things out. You know, based on third party, different settings and how you use the system. And then once we roll them out slowly, we'll be good to go. And hopefully we can get everybody moved over to the new version. Does anybody have any questions about the new version of PermitTrax?
Corey, can you just clarify that? I don't think you touched on the app, or maybe I missed it, but just want to verify. Yes, the app will still connect to PermitTrax, and if there is anything else that we need to know about.
And PermitTrax mobile, the mobile app? Yes. So yes, that one is, I have not pushed that out yet. I actually have a screenshot on my desk right now. It's not uploading the images, but it will have a switch in there that basically you'll go into settings when you download the new version that says version 7, and that will basically point to the new server. And basically everything will still be exactly the same. You'll just need to change it to say version 7 so it connects to the new server. But right now the syncing, it's not syncing the images, and I just haven't had a chance. I tested that when I was in Hawaii, but now I've got to hook it all up to the computer and find out why. And it's not transferring images to the old version of PermitTrax. So I have to make sure it works in the new and the old. So with that switch is what's allowing me to know what I have to connect to. So there is still some testing and some stuff that we're doing. We're not rolling this out tomorrow. We're going to be rolling it out with a couple customers within the next couple of weeks. And as those customers are, get integrated and moving, then we're going to pick another 1 or 2 customers and we'll move those customers over. We're not going to just do it either. We're not going to just say, oh, Enum Clause tomorrow, and you guys are going to log in and go, everything's changed. No, we'll let you know in advance. We'll probably move everything over on a weekend. So we'll let you know a week in advance that we're going to be moving you that weekend. And you will have that option to say, oh, we got a whole bunch of stuff going on. Can you wait another week or 2? Like, sure, we're willing to work with you on moving it over. But we're going to do it in small groups and make sure that all the processing and everything works. We're gonna do some testing on our end against your database and your system before we actually move you over to make sure that reports work and the documents print correctly and connect in with the iPads and make sure all that stuff's working. And we'll test all that in our environment before we even move you over. So.
Great, Corey. And we have a question just regarding any changes with the administrator that you might maybe haven't touched on, and also just filtering within my reviews. Is that something that's possible?
Filtering in here? Yeah, none of those features that people have asked for, except for just a couple things that were easy to implement. But filtering, things like that, the reviews, not yet. But the administrator icon is no longer over here. You'll find it, if you have access to it, you'll find it here. So it pops up here, tells me I'm editing live data, which I'm not, but it's because I'm in a development environment. But our menu is now over here, importing and exporting, console editor, or if I need to go in and do global messages, GIS settings. So GIS settings is going to be here. A lot of this is still, it's the same as before. One of the cool things that we've done in Administrator is we've kind of used these little pop-up windows. So I can go into Console Editor. I know Madison was talking about this the other day, as she was able to go into like a building permit, but I can still come over here to Console Editor and have like my code enforcement open. So I can be actually working with 2 different designs at the same time. So, but everything really here is pretty much the same. We've made some changes, like in our screen editors and cloning, but all of this stuff is now, you can see how fast a lot of this stuff is too. We can do our data mapping directly in custom data items. Again, you can see my URL is not changing. I basically have one page here. So is that kind of answering your question there, Jesse? Hopefully. Thumbs up. Yes, awesome. So one thing too is like in here, we under all consoles, this will tell me how many permits we have in the system total, 384,000 for Des Moines, and it shows us by all different consoles. The people console is 314, but I can also filter that down to just building, and I now have a total of 18,519 building permits in the system. So, and I can easily see which one is my active console. So we got a lot of cool things in here that we can do. But administrator has moved over here into this menu here. So, are there any other questions? When you release it to the entity, will you also be releasing the new sense of portable? Yes. So all of that will be the whole PermitTrax suite. Everything with PermitTrax will be moved over all at the same time. Citizens Connect, PermitTrax, and the PermitTrax mobile. So it's a whole complete new server. So the other thing too I needed to talk about was if I come over here and I do a log out, you'll notice that my URL is permittrax.com/permittrax. Well, if I go in right now to, I'm going to pick on Latah because they're on the new server right now. So this is the new server. So theirs is Latah, Idaho, permittrax.com, PermitTrax. So everybody has their own URL. That will be exactly the same. So right now, if I go into Enumclaw and go to PermitTrax, you'll notice that it's Enumclaw permittrax.com/permittrax. But this is the old style of it's called routing. It goes to that default.aspx page. That's the old style of saying, what page do I need to go to? A lot of times it'd be like index, but as I log in here, I'm still on default. I go into their live. You'll notice that my URL up here is PermitTrax module permits dashboard, and then there's my dashboard ASPX. That's the actual page. The new Blazor doesn't have that. It doesn't do the URLs that way. It doesn't have a page. So that now would be in the new version. I'm going into Latah and I go into their test environment. You can just see I'm at the PermitTrax/dashboard main Latah. Whatever I do in here doesn't change that URL. I'm on this page. So, but if I go to projects, it's going to go to project search Latah. So these URLs are going to be different than what you see here. So your shortcuts, and I'm going to create a document to send out to you guys when we move you over. If you have a shortcut on your desktop that's going to go to the PermitTrax for Enumclaw, it's most likely going to include this default.aspx. That will need to go away. You'll need to delete that because that doesn't work anymore. So you'll just need to go to, I'll log out over here. It would be just PermitTrax. It knows that it's at the home page because there's nothing here. If I type something else, you're going to see the page you're looking for is not found. It doesn't know what this is. So, I wanted to point that out. So we're going to put together a document that explains how those URLs work and stuff like that. Yes, Jesse. I think I can, I got to unlock Jesse's mic here. Allow mic. You can unmute Jesse.
Okay, sorry, I wasn't sure how to type this, but since you're talking about the website addresses, for Citizens Connect, we've typed out a lot of instructions for our customers. And if they actually print their PDF, obviously they can't see the URL if I change the title of it. And if I use the actual link itself, it's like a 10-pager, link. Has that been shortened up?
Yes, it has. That will change as well. So you'll notice here that's permittrax.com/citizen is going to take me to the page. Now, if I was to do Latah, because they only have one, so if I go to Citizens Connect, it automatically says, oh, there's only one. Oh, we don't have it turned on yet. Oh, as I'm in the test mode. That's what I need to put in /test, and voila. You'll notice that it automatically, because I only had one, it took me. That's all it is. That's the URL. So that's what you'll need. And actually, you won't even need to do that. You should just have to only just put in that, because it's going to know by the Latah, Idaho, that it's only Latah. So I don't have anybody live in the new environment yet. So if I go here, that's going to be Des Moines Public Works, but Des Moines also has code enforcement. Well, that's going to be home Des Moines code enforcement. That's it. So again, we're in a page that if I come over here and do upload new item, you can see it didn't change the URL. So nothing has changed here. So if I go back into my community development, we're doing a single page. I'm in the public works. It knows that. If I go pull up a permit, I click on that, you'll notice my URL does not change. They have a back button, but that back button is going to take me back to where I can select my connection. Normally, they're not going to see a back button at all. So because they didn't select a connection, automatically took them to this page. They might see a back button where this might go, oh, it took me back to the test environment. That's why. But yeah, once I'm doing anything here, downloading files, I can look at comments. This URL just doesn't change. If I click on home, that URL, I'm just changing what's on the screen. So that's that circuit I was talking about. It's communicating back and forth, and it makes it much faster. So even if I click on search, here's a new search abilities here. This is something I'm still working on, search help. Says put something here to help people search. So we've got that as a to-do item to come up with some information to help people search for stuff. But people can do date ranges now. I can also do permit numbers, addresses, parcels, contacts. Those are 3. Don't know what I'm looking for here. So I've got parcel numbers. So if I want to look at that parcel, I should just be able to search that parcel. So people can search for parcels, contacts. If I'm looking for Hines, I'm going to find everything with Hines in the name, or Angela. So here's all the Angelas. So I can put permit numbers. I can look for different date ranges and clear my search. So a little bit new stuff there. Trying to make that. We'll probably add more functionality there, but we're working on it. So everything else is kind of the same. So here, instead of the checkbox, I've got to agree or disagree. So if they agree, it moves on. Here's our search. Here's a search help again. Need to let people know how to search for stuff. I always do road, RD, choose permit, yes, move on. Contact information, next. Also the ability to go next. I'll have to fill it in. Applicant, next. I'm the owner. Applicant, next. I can also go back. So the old one didn't let me go backwards. Now I can go back. So I can go through this process. Next. Add whatever I need to. Next. And I go, oh wait, I meant to do something there. I can go back. So they're not available to do that in the current version of PermitTrax. The new version, citizens can go back and forth and get to the part where, so of course I can't do anything here because I don't have anything set up for payment processing in our test environment. So we don't allow that. You can see I'm in test here. That little yellow, instead of having a little tiny little triangle in the top corner, the yellow down here at the bottom is going to show, and as if I move, it moves to the top or bottom as I'm using it. So, but yeah, that URL will be much smaller that you can use. It's not encrypted anymore because everything's on one page. Don't need to. So, any other questions, comments, suggestions, complaints? I think we're good to go. If you do have any questions or concerns, please, send an email to our support. And we'll answer what we can. And if Madison and Katie don't know the answers, they'll push it over to Casey and myself, and we'll look at it and we'll answer your emails. But we're kind of excited about it. Madison and Katie and Casey have been using this new version of PermitTrax now for about a month, and a couple of our Winchester and Latah have been using it as well, for implementing as new clients. And I know we're getting close to going live with them. So we're excited about this new version and getting everybody moved out there. Yeah, Jesse.
Since it kind of seems like you're wrapping up, I was curious, can you show me some of the other jurisdictions that you have, their kind of last page of the application portal of where it talks about uploads? I was wondering if I could see examples of other cities, because we've already run into a couple issues with ours, and maybe if their layout looks a little more helpful to the customer, that maybe we could try to mimic them or something.
For doing the uploads.
Yeah, for that reminder that they're not done. They still need to upload when I get to the summary screen.
Let me see what Des Moines has here. So for like a commercial building, the steps, application acceptance, HTML. So this is what they've got. I've got an issue here. Need no scrolling.
Yeah, theirs looks similar to ours. I was thinking about maybe adding a whole other page and putting like a big stop sign and in big letters saying, you are not done, you must upload plans on the next screen. I know it says that, but already our couple applicants submitted and then left. So then we're like, are you gonna upload? So I wonder if that could be an option. I think that there's too many words on that screen that they just click accept, and then just to get done.
Sure. I mean, yeah, I understand that, and I'm hoping that I can create and then once we get everybody moved over to this version, I can see where when we're doing online applications right now, when we go into steps, like a residential building permit, it'd be nice if we can just add a step here for uploads, and it's automatically going to just take them to the uploads. And then we can have an HTML message on uploads that says, hey, you need to upload these things. That could even be part of a step that would be in here in the middle. It's like, I need you to upload these plans. If you have this, and this, upload. Now people can still skip, but I guess we could make it a required, there's a lot of things that we need to do there. But now with the way this new application works, the Blazor application, that upload, it's kind of a component, and I can just throw it easily somewhere. And so it's kind of nice. It would actually be easier to do that, but I don't want to put anything in the system that's not already in there. So we can add that later. I like that idea. But because a lot of times some of these changes that people have requested require me to change the database and change the way we store files or data. And those changes, I don't want the old version and the new version to have a different database. So once we move everybody over, then we can start making some of these changes. And I'm actually pretty excited about making those kind of changes, because that would be, one, it's kind of fun. I enjoy it. But I've made a lot of changes in the application here to make things a little easier for us to work with internally. But we still got things that, I can see I've got some issues here of like scroll bars. That's easy to fix. But it's just something that got missed, you know, in the development process. You can see here, if I make this a small screen, I need scroll bars. But there's places where that scroll bar is probably not, and we need to test external links. That's anything that's got a grid, but like this one here, so this one has my scroll bar. So so that's kind of nice. But the online applications did not have that under the HTML. So no scroll bar. I need a scroll bar there. But that's easy to fix. So, and I noticed that this blue doesn't go all the way across. Those are the little things that bug me. That's my OCD that kicks in. It's like, that's empty space right there. Means nothing to anybody but me. Drives me nuts.
Hey, Corey, don't forget your scroll bar.
I had my scroll bar, yeah.
So is everybody's little upload screen like that, kind of similar to each other, or do you think you have anybody that has something that's uniquely different?
I don't think we do. I'm trying to think. Madison, can you think of anybody that might have a different?
Off of the top of my head, no, I can't think of anybody. I know a lot of times when we're doing Citizens Connect, I use other people's stuff for reference when I'm working on creating a new online permit. And so I'd have to do a little bit of digging, Jesse, but if you wanted to send in a support ticket, we can rework those screens to say something a little bit different.
Okay, yeah, I have an idea in my head, so I was gonna write it all up and stuff and send it to you to see if it was an option.
Yeah, I can't think of anybody's different off of the top of my head. I'm sure there is. I just would have to do a little digging.
Okay, don't worry about it. I'll send something over. Thank you, guys.
Yeah. Any other questions, comments? Does everybody like what they're seeing? You know, maybe throw a little thumbs up or something in the chat or something. Just I like the idea of I guess Susan wants PermitTrax. So everybody's looking, it's looking good. So I know that there's some features in here people are gonna be like, oh, I like that. But there's people that are gonna probably complain about these little red bubbles. But I hope they do, because that's kind of keep the code clean. Keep your permits clean. So that data, that's something that bugs me is, you know, 338 scheduled inspections never got completed, you know, but nobody probably ever ran a report and looked at it. So now I'm telling you. So, well, I want to thank everybody. And we will keep in touch with you guys on when we're going to be rolling out. I like Richard said, looks good there. And Susan and Richard and Susan have volunteered to be our first people to move over and start using it. So I know Susan, I know you'd love those red bubbles. But yeah, I appreciate everybody's time today. And if you got any questions, please email to support and we'll answer what we can.